Poisoned Prince, a fairy tale true crime. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who covered up the crime that ended it all? In every version of the story, we hear about the evil queen, the woman who envied beauty so bitterly, she disguised herself as a crone and laced an apple with death. But the thing about history is this: it's written by survivors, cleaned up by royals, and sweetened for bedtime. So let's go back. Strip away the gloss. Rewind to the blood beneath the lace, the shadow behind the castle doors. Because Snow White didn't die from jealousy. She died from power. And the one holding the poisoned apple wasn't wearing a crown. He was offering one. Chapter 1. The Body in the Glass Box. The year was 1321 in the kingdom of Elvaria, a forest realm steeped in fog and superstition. At dawn, 7 dwarves reported the body, found in the woods, perfectly preserved inside a glass coffin, lips still red, skin still snow. The dwarves claimed they'd been hiding her after an attempt on her life. The queen, they said, had poisoned her. They'd seen the girl collapse after taking a bite from a merchant's fruit. But the odd part was this: they never buried her. They kept her on display, like a shrine, or a warning. For months, she lay untouched, until one morning the prince arrived. He kissed her, the witnesses said, and she woke. They called it love, a miracle. The queen was executed within the week. But love doesn't smell like bitter almond. And what woke her wasn't romance. It was regret. Chapter 2. The Girl Before the Coffin. Snow White, real name, Lady Seraphine of House Albenhart, was 17 when she fled the castle. Her stepmother, Queen Isolde, had recently begun to unravel. Witnesses in the court reported erratic behavior, nightly mirror readings, strange alchemical brews, and whispering to birds who never spoke back. But Queen Isolde never went near the kitchens. She never bought apples, and she certainly never left the tower alone. What she did do, according to her physician, was keep a very detailed journal. In it, she wrote often of a strange prince from the north, a man who appeared in visions, who spoke of destiny and power. That man's name was Prince Alaric of Hollowmere, the same prince who would later wake Snow White. Chapter 3. The apple was never hers. The post-mortem report, preserved by a forest apothecary, later exiled, stated something unusual. No apple residue was found in the esophagus, no bite marks in the throat. However, trace amounts of belladonna were found under the fingernails. Belladonna, deadly nightshade, not typically used in apples, but easily mixed into wine. The prince had brought wine with him that day. A gift, he said, to celebrate her beauty and death. He poured 1 glass for her. He never drank. She awoke 3 hours later, fevered, confused, hallucinating. Not revived, poisoned again, more subtly. And when she married him weeks later, the dwarves were not invited. Chapter 4. The First Wife. Theory. There were rumours, buried but real, of another woman before Snow, a girl named Leora, a maid's daughter who once lived in Hollowmere, disappeared after a winter solstice ball. No body, no funeral, just gone. Letters recovered from the Queen's old archives suggest Leora had met a young royal suitor who promised her elevation, a place in court. Her last letter reads, "He told me I was made of starlight, but now I only see smoke." A hollow grave was found near Hollowmere, unmarked but lined with flowered glass, like a prototype for a coffin. Chapter 5. The mirror was a witness. Here's where it turns strange, mythical. But in these stories, strange is truth wrapped in gold. The Queen's mirror, it wasn't metaphorical. It was made of obsidian and blood silver, enchanted with a binding curse. It showed not beauty, but intent. A final witness testimony from the castle steward recorded. On the night of her arrest, the Queen cried before the mirror. She said, "You lied to me." The mirror answered, "No, I told you he was the fairest." She hadn't asked who was the most beautiful. She'd asked who was the most dangerous. Chapter 6. The Blood Wedding. Snow White's wedding to Prince Alaric was celebrated for a full fortnight. But within the year, her health began to decline again. She grew pale, her memory fractured. She was seen muttering to birds, whispering into mirrors, just like Isolde. On the last day she was seen alive, she was heard saying, "I think I married my poison." Her body was never recovered. The official story: she wandered into the woods and never returned. But the glass coffin is still there, empty and guarded. Epilogue. The true poison. In fairy tales, villains are women with sharp cheekbones and sharper tongues. Men arrive on white horses, kiss sleeping girls, and call it love. But in this story, the real poison was not in an apple. It was in ambition wrapped in charm, a crown offered with a smile. Prince Alaric ruled for 42 years. He banned mirror magic, destroyed court records, and outlawed all inquiry into Snow's lineage. But in the deepest part of Elvaria's woods, some say you can still hear her whisper through the trees. It wasn't the Queen.